Hello again. Hopefully you got your sentences classified with me and practice page 64. Now we're going to go back to the textbook and I am on page 600. Now the picture that you see here on the screen, this is actually page 601. So we're going to look at that in a minute, but right now I want you to go to page 600. We're going to talk about degrees of adjectives and adverbs. And this is something that you know. It's once you see it and we talk about it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. So let's look at the skill time. You know that adjectives and adverbs are words that describe things. We know that from third grade Shirley English, right? Okay, well, today we're going to learn how to use them to compare two or more things. This description is called degrees of comparison. So reference 175 tells us that degrees of comparison between adjective and adverb means two or more things that are being compared as they are being described. So what we're going to do here is probably add a few suffixes, maybe change the form of the word. But let's look at the simple form first in the yellow box. This form is the one used most often because it describes one person or thing. Okay, so that's why it's simple. Use the simple forms when no comparisons are being made. For example, Cole is a fast runner, or the quiet boy played. Now, if we're going to use adverbs, those were adjectives. The red ones show us the adverbs. Cole runs fast. The boy played quietly. There's that magic ly that tells us it's an adverb. Okay, so now let's compare them. If we have more than one object, we're going to need to compare, and that's why we call them degrees of comparison. Okay, this is the comparative form. It's used to compare two things. When we use the comparative form, we're going to add er or the word more to compare the two nouns. Okay, so let's look at the yellow box. Here's the example. Cole is a faster runner than Brad. Now you've got two people. You've got Cole and you've got Brad. Cole is faster than Brad. That's how we compare two things. Or we could say he is a quieter person than she is. All right, now let's jump over to the adverb box. In the comparative form, we would say Cole runs faster than Brad does. Or we could say he played more quietly than she did. All right, now here's where we're going to take a look. First, let's jump to the top of the page. There we're talking about the superlative form. This is the form used to compare three or more things. To make the superlative form, add est or most to the simple form. So pretend you've just got one. You're going to add es or most. Okay? Use est with short adjectives or adverbs, those that have one or two syllables. And use most with longer adjectives and adverbs, those that have two or more syllables. Okay, so let's look at the yellow box right at the top there. It says Cole is the fastest runner on the team. He is the quietest person in our family. There we're using est. We've got more than two that we're comparing. All right, now let's jump over to the superlative adverbs. Cole runs the fastest of anyone on the team. He played most quietly of all the kids. Okay, and sometimes we have irregular adjectives or adverbs, and we love that we have to memorize those because they change the forms of the words. So if you look at the two charts, both adjectives and adverbs, those are irregular. And some of them are not, but let's look at them. Okay, if we were using good or well, the comparative form would be better and the superlative form would be best. So those are irregular. If we were using bad or ill, we would say worse or worst. And remember, irregular means that either the entire word changes or the spelling of the word changes. Okay, so we would say little, less, and least, little, lesser and least, much many, more, and most. And you can do the same thing with the adverbs. Maybe chant through those, make sure you understand when to use better, best, worse, worst, less, least, or more, and most. And this is probably review for you. You did it last year too. All right, so if we're going to do the guided practice at the bottom, we would say number 1, Uncle Frank said Mom's chili was hotter than his own. Number 2, she did the best job of them all because there are more than 2 to compare. And number 3, Mom's plant grew less than my plant. All right, be sure you read that student tip. Now, what you are going to do now is finish classroom practice 64. You have your noun job chart, which we haven't done in a while, but it's good practice for you. And then you're going to try the simple, comparative, and superlative forms at the bottom. All right, do your best on that, and we will check it soon in a Zoom meeting. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.